At the supermarket. What do you need from the fruit section? Where can I find the fresh bread? How much is this bag of rice? Which milk has less sugar? How many apples are in this bag? When does the store close tonight? Why is this cereal on sale? Who can help me at the checkout? How do I use this self-checkout machine? What time does the bakery make fresh rolls? In the kitchen. What are you cooking in the large pot? Where did you put the cutting board? When should I add the tomatoes? Why is the oven making that noise? Who washed the dishes after dinner? How do you chop onions without crying? Which knife is best for this chicken? How much oil do we need for the pan? How many eggs are left in the fridge? What should I serve with this soup? Daily routine. What do you usually eat for breakfast? When do you brush your teeth in the morning? Where do you keep your house keys? Why do you set 2 alarms? Who makes coffee in your home? How do you get ready so quickly? Which jacket do you wear on rainy days? How much time do you spend in the shower? How many messages do you check before work? What do you pack in your bag every day? Getting around town. Where is the nearest bus stop? Which train goes to the city center? When does the next bus arrive? How do I get to the main square? How much is a taxi to the station? How many stops are there before the museum? Why is this street closed today? Who can show me the way on this map? What should I do if I miss the tram? Where can I rent a bike near here? At the restaurant. What do you recommend for dinner? Where is our table by the window? When will the waiter bring the menu? Why is my soup cold? Who ordered the grilled fish? How is the chicken cooked here? Which dessert comes with fresh berries? How much is the lunch menu? How many people are in your reservation? What can I order without cheese? At the cafe. What kind of coffee do you want? Where can we sit with our laptops? When does this cafe open on Sundays? Why is the Wi-Fi not working? Who made this heart shape in the milk? How do you make iced tea here? Which cake is the most popular today? How much sugar is in this muffin? How many croissants are left on the tray? What size cup do you prefer? At school. What homework is due tomorrow? Where is the science classroom? When does the English test start? Why is your notebook on the floor? Who sits next to you in math class? How do you spell this new word? Which book should we read first? How much time do we have for the project? How many students are in the art club? What color is the marker on the desk? At work. What task should I finish before lunch? Where is the meeting room on this floor? When will the manager check the report? Why is the printer out of paper again? Who is leading the team meeting today? How can I send this file safely? Which email needs an answer today? How much coffee is left in the office kitchen? How many chairs do we need for the workshop? What should I write on the whiteboard? At the doctor. What symptoms do you have today? Where does your back hurt? When did the headache start? Why are you taking this medicine? Who brought you to the clinic? How do you feel after the injection? Which arm should I use for the blood test? How much water should I drink today? How many pills should I take with breakfast? What should I avoid while I am sick? At the pharmacy. What medicine is good for a cough? Where are the bandages for small cuts? When should I take this syrup? Why does this cream need to stay cold? Who can explain the label to me? How do I use these eye drops? Which vitamins are for children? How much does this thermometer cost? How many masks come in this box? What should I do if I feel dizzy? At the hotel. What time is breakfast in the hotel? Where is the elevator to the third floor? When can we check into our room? Why is there water on the bathroom floor? Who can bring extra towels to room 204? How do I turn on the air conditioner? Which room has a view of the sea? How much is parking for one night? How many keys do we get for the room? What should I show at reception? At the airport. What gate does our flight use? Where is the baggage claim area? When does boarding begin for London? Why is the flight delayed this afternoon? Who checks passports at this counter? How do I print my boarding pass? Which line is for international flights? How much luggage can I take on the plane? How many bags did you check in? What should I remove at security? Shopping for clothes. What size do you wear in jeans? Where are the black shoes on display? When does the winter sale start? Why is this shirt cheaper than that one? Who can find a smaller jacket for me? How does this red dress look on me? Which coat is warmer for snowy weather? How much is this leather belt? How many pairs of socks are in the pack? What can I wear to a job interview? At home. What is on the kitchen table? Where did you leave the TV remote? When will you clean your bedroom? Why is the living room light on? Who opened the window in the hall? How do we fix this loose door handle? Which shelf is for clean towels? How much space is there in the closet? How many pillows are on the sofa? What should we put on this empty wall? Weather and plans. What is the weather like this morning? Where can we go if it rains? When will the storm reach the city? Why is the sky so dark at noon? Who brought an umbrella for the walk? How cold will it be tonight? Which day is best for a picnic? How much snow fell in the park? How many sunny days are expected this week? What should I wear in windy weather? Hobbies. What do you like to paint on weekends? Where do you play guitar after school? When did you start collecting postcards? Why do you enjoy taking photos of birds? Who taught you to knit that blue scarf? How do you make a paper airplane? Which puzzle is harder on the shelf? How much yarn do you need for the hat? How many photos are in your album? What can we build with these wooden blocks? Sports and fitness. What sport do you play after work? Where is the nearest swimming pool? When does the yoga class begin? Why are your running shoes wet? Who won the tennis match this morning? How do you warm up before a race? Which ball is for the basketball game? How much water do you drink during practice? How many laps can you run today? What should I bring to the gym?
Family and friends.
What gift did you buy for your sister? Where does your best friend live now? When is your mother's birthday party? Why is your brother laughing in the photo? Who is holding the baby in the garden? How do you celebrate New Year with your family? Which cousin plays the piano at weddings? How much food should we cook for everyone? How many guests are coming to dinner? What game can we play with the children? Phone and internet. What app do you use for video calls? Where can I charge my phone here? When did you send the voice message? Why is the screen so bright at night? Who posted this picture of the beach? How do I connect to the hotel Wi-Fi? Which password works for this network? How much battery does your tablet have? How many photos can this phone store? What should I do if the call drops? Bank and money. What documents do I need to open an account? Where is the nearest cash machine? When does the bank open on Monday? Why was my card declined at the shop? Who can change dollars into pounds? How do I pay this bill online? Which account is for monthly savings? How much money did you withdraw? How many coins are in your wallet? What should I write on the transfer form? Post office. What stamp do I need for this postcard? Where can I send a package to Canada? When will this letter arrive in Paris? Why is this box too heavy to mail? Who signs for registered mail? How do I track this parcel? Which envelope is best for these photos? How much does express delivery cost? How many forms must I fill out? What should I write on the address label? City services. What number do I call for lost property? Where is the public library entrance? When is the trash collected on this street? Why is the park fountain turned off? Who repairs broken streetlights? How can I get a library card? Which office gives parking permits? How much is a monthly bus pass? How many recycling bins are on this corner? What should I do about a noisy neighbor? Travel and sightseeing. What monument is behind the fountain? Where can we buy tickets for the castle? When does the museum tour finish? Why is this old bridge famous? Who took this photo of the tower? How do we reach the viewpoint on the hill? Which street has the colorful houses? How much does the walking tour cost? How many churches can you see from here? What should we visit before sunset? Emergencies. What happened to the cyclist on the road? Where is the nearest emergency exit? When did you see the smoke in the kitchen? Why is the alarm ringing in the hallway? Who can call an ambulance right now? How do we leave the building safely? Which door leads to the fire stairs? How much blood is on the bandage? How many people are waiting outside? What should I do if I lose my passport? Pets and animals. What does your dog eat for breakfast? Where is the cat hiding in the house? When do you take your puppy for a walk? Why is the parrot shouting in its cage? Who feeds the fish in the tank? How do you clean a rabbit cage? Which collar belongs to the small dog? How much food does the turtle need? How many birds are sitting on the fence? What should we do if the dog runs away?